Hey there, guys! We are the Brony and the Non-Brony, and we're
not the Brony here. Not.
Don't make me smack you. We're here to basically read random fan fiction. Some he picks, some I pick. I'm straight, he's gay, so you may get a mix of stuff there. Anywho, we're going to start off with a fan fiction called Applebloom's Cutie Mark. It is by Creamy Shadow 48, and it's gory, it's really kind of messed up in the head, but it's really interesting and I enjoy it, so let's get started. After all the adventuring the Cutie Mark Crusaders have made, it was the day to come. They were the day where the Cutie Mark Crusaders got their Cutie Marks. Scootaloo's Cutie Mark was a scooter, for Scootaloo won first place at a race competition called the Young Racers Competition. Shut the hell up! Sweetie Belle's Cutie Mark was a top hat because her excellent performance at the Phillies Magic Trick Show. We all know she sings. That is like a lie right there. It was morning and the three Phillies were at their clubhouse sitting in a circle talking about their cutie marks. I knew my stunts can get me my cutie mark. I've been practicing for a long time, exclaimed Scootaloo with a smile on her face. My magic trips took a lot of practice too, replied Sweetie Belle, also with a lot of smile on her face. Applebloom was frowning and was hiding her flanks with a blue blanket. Scootaloo raised her right eyebrow and asked Applebloom, "Applebloom, why are you acting so weird?" So the Earth Pony's face turned red and she bit her lower lip. "Seriously, what's up with you?" Scootaloo asked in a rude voice. Applebloom got up and went to a small corner with the blanket still covering her flanks. Applebloom curled up into a ball tightly, while holding the blanket in place with her hooves. The other two fillies looked at her with a confused look. The unicorn scooched over to Scootaloo and whispered, Did Applebloom didn't get her cutie mark yet?" That's some interesting grammar. Did Applebloom didn't get her cutie mark yet?
Why didn't you proofread this shit?
I don't know. Just shut up. I hope not, replied the orange Pegasus. Scootaloo got up and walked over to Applebloom. Applebloom curled up tight into a tighter ball, and her body temperature went up. Sweetie Belle also got up and walked up to the curled-up pony. "Applebloom, it's okay. Just show us your cutie mark," said Scootaloo with a pitiful look. "Yeah, we won't get mad or jealous," added the unicorn, who had the same reaction as her Pegasus friend. Applebloom slowly uncurled and got up with the blanket still covering her flanks. Applebloom, with a nervous look, then took the blanket off and showed her left flank to her two Crusader friends. The two Crusaders looked at Applebloom's flank with their mouths wide open. "I don't even know what to say," said the Pegasus Crusader. Applebloom's temperature went up even more, and bit her lower lip with worry. "I must be dreaming. This can't be happening," said Sweetie Belle. "I can't believe it. This is not cool at all," added Scootaloo, with her face turning red with anger. "I know we've tried everything, but nothing seems to do the trick. I guess I bet going to be a blank flake forever," said the Earth Pony, who was starting to cry. "It's not possible," yelled Scootaloo, anger going up. "It is. I'm running away to the Everfree Forest and never coming back. Ever." Okay. The Earth Pony yelled with tears going down her face. The Earth Pony shoved her two friends out of the way and rammed her head into the door. The ram was powerful enough to open the door without breaking it. That would be a given, in my opinion. Applebloom now left the treehouse and ran away from the place until it was out of sight. "Wait," yelled the purple-maned Pegasus. As at the top of her lungs, Scootaloo was able to not fall down when Applebloom shoved her, but Sweetie Belle fell down. The white unicorn got up without any assistance from Scootaloo. "What do we do? Applebloom's probably going to get killed or something in that wretched place," yelled Sweetie Belle, but in a worried voice. The orange Pegasus looked at the map of Ponyville in their clubhouse. She kept looking at the map, with her eyes squinting and thinking of an idea. Scootaloo said in a proud voice, "Come on, let's find Rainbow Dash. She will help us, because she's proved so helpful in the past." "Why the heck do you always get Rainbow Dash?" asked Sweetie Belle, raising her right eyebrow. The orange Pegasus replied, "'Cause she's so awesome now. Come on, let's go." The unicorn friend shook her head in agreement and followed Scootaloo to her scooter. Her scooter was just parked outside the clubhouse. Scootaloo went on her scooter and put her helmet on, with Sweetie Belle holding on her back. "All right, let's go find Rainbow Dash," Scootaloo said in a full voice of pride. The two ponies took off to Ponyville. That was a lot of hers. Like what? One every 3 words? 3 to 1 words. Applebloom was running through Ponyville, shoving through ponies as fast as she can. She kept running non-stop until finally she made it into the Everfree Forest. It was the afternoon, and she was breathing hard from all that running she did to get here. She walked into the forest, surrounded by trees and bushes. She kept walking until she found a large tree to rest under. Applebloom went under the tree and curled up into a ball tight again. She then cried quietly while it started to rain. I'm never going to get my cutie mark no matter what, Applebloom thought in her head. She continued to cry silently while raindrops dropped down on Applebloom's mane. After 10 minutes of crying, a mysterious voice was coming from a cave 40 feet away from Applebloom. Over here, whispered the mysterious voice. Applebloom heard it once, but she thought she was just hearing things. Over here, the mysterious voice repeated. Applebloom uncurled.
So mysterious, not creeperish at all.
Shut up. And got up quickly. She looked around with her eyes full of tears until she found a cave. The cave was about 20 feet tall and 15 feet wide. Applebloom couldn't see it clearly, but she knew that it was a cave. Yes, over here, the mysterious voice whispered. That's a big fucking cave just to randomly find. I'm just saying. Applebloom, yelled Applejack. Applebloom, yelled Rainbow Dash. This is no use. We won't find Applebloom, said Sweetie Belle in an unconfident voice. Scootaloo squinted at her eyes at Sweetie Belle and said, Listen, we brought Rainbow Dash here, and Rainbow Dash brought Applejack for one reason, to find Applebloom. So stop being like that, and let's go. Applebloom didn't have to do this, yelled Applejack with tears coming out of her eyes. We seriously need to split if we are ever to find Applebloom. But Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle, you two go east of here while me and Applejack go west, commanded Rainbow Dash. Scootaloo whinnied. Why can't I go with you, Rainbow Dash?
That's whined.
Scootaloo whined. Why can't I go with you? Rainbow Dash started to get annoyed with Scootaloo and spread her wings. She flew 5 feet from the ground and looked at Scootaloo with an annoyed look. If you want this plan to work, you'll follow my rules. Otherwise, get out of here, scolded Rainbow Dash in a rude voice. Scootaloo started to frown and dropped her head a little. The unicorn filly started to walk east. Sweetie Belle turned her head to Scootaloo and said, Scootaloo, are you coming or not? Kinky. Okay, anyway. The Pegasus filly lifted her head and turned her whole body to Sweetie Belle. Scootaloo started to squint her eyes to her unicorn friend. The orange Pegasus slowly walked to Sweetie Belle, staring at her eyes. Scootaloo kept walking up to Sweetie Belle and
until
her eyes were a few feet away from Sweetie Belle's. Wait. Yeah, that's what it says. Sweetie Belle, until her eyes squinted, were 1 feet away from Sweetie Belle's eyes.
Okay.
Okay, that's,
Anyway.
Well, that maybe just be us fucking up. Alright. The orange Pegasus started to slowly open her eyes and said in a calm voice, Okay, let's go find Applebloom. The two fillies started heading east. Rainbow Dash turned her head and pointed her eyes to Applejack. Applejack was crying hard and wiping tears with her left hoof. Don't feel bad, AJ. I'm sure we'll find Applebloom in a flash, said Rainbow, who was petting AJ's mane with her right hoof. I swear that when we find her, she is going to be grounded forever, yelled AJ at the top of her lungs. When AJ stopped crying, she wiped all her tears and they started heading west of the forest. I found a cave. It even had Applebloom's hoof marks that lead inside, yelled Sweetie Belle. Scootaloo went over to Sweetie Belle and looked at the hoof marks. Yeah, those hoof marks totally look like Applebloom's, replied Scootaloo.
There's a difference?
That's what I was thinking. Should we go in? Asked Scootaloo, is the unicorn friend. Yes. Because going in a cave always ends in a good thing, no matter what.
Can't argue with that logic.
Let's just check inside the cave before we drive Rainbow Dash and Applejack here, Scootaloo said, giving the answer to Sweetie Belle's question. Sweetie Belle nodded in agreement to Scootaloo's answer. They both walked next to each other and entered the cave. While they were walking, they looked around at the cave walls. The cave walls were bumpy and had small cracks in them. I don't know why Applebloom would go in here, quoted Scootaloo in a dark voice. Sweetie Belle was still looking at the walls, biting her lips with worry. Scootaloo was also looking at the wall, squinting her eyes at every small crack in sight. They kept following the hoofprints until the hoofprints ended them in a dead end. What? How can she go? Oh, wait a minute, said Scootaloo in a suspicious voice. The two fellows heard footsteps behind them. They turned around and saw their lost friend. Applebloom had a wheel-standed tray next to her. The tray had a bone saw, a scalpel, 6 syringes, a glass beer bottle filled with toxic water, a C4, kind of overkill, a loaded MK-23. Applebloom had a clenched psycho smile on her face. Tiny blood drops were coming out of her
clenched teeth
and dripping on the floor. Her eye pupils were small and her eyes were twitching like a lightning storm. "Ha, my little pretties," said Applebloom in a high-pitched voice. That's not creepy at all.
Why are they always redneck?
I don't know. She's Applejack's sister and they work on a farm. The two fillies' eyes and mouths were wide open in shock and fear. "So y'all missed me and decided to find me. Well, that was the right choice. Y'all fillies made," said Applebloom with her eyes slowly turning bloodshot.
I think that's supposed to be bloodshot.
What the fuck would bloodshot be? Are you like bleeding from your eyes while you have them closed? Okay, "Applebloom has gotten into you," cried the orange Pegasus. Applebloom grabbed the bone saw from the tray with her right foot and wiped the bone saw's sides with her left hoof. Applebloom stared at the two filly friends while wiping the bone saw and said, "Oh, nothing. It's just that I think that I can find my cutie mark with you two guys as my helpers." That sounds brilliant! "Oh dear, what are we going to do?" cried Sweetie Belle, driven with fear. There's one too many quotation marks there. "Get Rainbow Dash and get out of this cave," yelled the orange Pegasus, answering her unicorn friend's question. Two iron tables came out of the floor where the two fillies were standing on, and the two fillies slipped and fell on the two iron tables below them. They were now lying on the tables while iron cuffs were coming out of the tables, locking their hooves in place, making their bodies in the shape of an X. Random table attack! It happens to everyone. Scootaloo was squirming around and trying to get out of the menacing table while Sweetie Belle was doing the same. Applebloom put the bone saw on the tray after wiping it with her left hoof. Applebloom pulled the tray with her closer to her trapped fillies. Applebloom grabbed the scalpel with her left hoof and turned to Scootaloo on the left table. "No, Applebloom, don't lay that knife on me!" Rah! She was cut off by Applebloom's right hoof covering her mouth. "Shh, you're going to die more painfully if you all scream for help," whispered Applebloom, with her smile getting bigger. Yeah, I can see her. That's what I'd do. Totally. Just shut up and let it happen. "Applebloom, please, we are your friend. All the adventuring we did, all three of us had fun performing and being adventurous and trying to find the reward we had always dreamed of," said the trapped unicorn. Scootaloo raised her eyebrows in a form of sadness and nodded in agreement. "Please, Applebloom, let us go. We are your friends and always will be," bribed Sweetie Belle with the same eyebrows as Scootaloo's eyebrows. Okay. Applebloom started to bleed from her ears and bled even more from her clenched teeth. All that adventuring for this. Y'all got your cutie marks and I don't. Well, I'm going to fix that," said Applebloom, with her voice full of craze and anger. Applebloom quickly stabbed Scootaloo in the upper chest and slowly dragged the scalpel down. Scootaloo is screaming at the top of her lungs, hoping that Rainbow Dash will come. But her screaming cannot be heard, for Applebloom was covering her mouth with her right hoof just after 2 seconds of screaming. Applebloom drew the scalpel back until she cut Scootaloo's sternum open. Sweetie Belle's wide-open eyes gazing at Applebloom doing her work. Sweetie Belle's fear quickly turned into anger. "Applebloom, if you don't let us go, I'm going to tell you on your big sister," screamed Sweetie Belle. "Yeah, threaten her. Yeah, that's the way to do it." Applebloom replied, still looking at Scootaloo. "Sweetie Belle, you won't be alive when you're trying to tell my big sister about this." Fair enough. As the trapped unicorn yelled, "Heal!" a corrupted earth pony yanked its scalpel out of the Pegasus' chest and put it back on the tray. Applebloom grabbed a syringe with her left hoof and the bone saw with her right hoof, allowing Scootaloo to scream for help. Applebloom threw the syringe at Sweetie Belle's right flank, causing her syringe at Sweetie Belle's right flank, causing her to pass out, while she threw the bone saw across her head, cutting off the horn. That's some pretty accurate throwing.
And pretty badass.
If it wasn't so evil. I mean, seriously, you got a bone saw to cut through solid bone, horn, whatever the fuck it's made out of, by throwing it? What would you have to generate in force?
Don't they have to be turned on to do that anyway?
That's what I thought too. And then I can understand the needle going in, but how would you get the plunger to press to knock her out with whatever was in the needle?
I don't know. We're not here to comment on how stupid the writer is.
Fuck it. Let's just count it to magic physics. Dummy, you should have used your Applebloom was cut off by Scootaloo's scream. "Rainbow Dash, help us!" screamed Scootaloo, having enough time to call for help. Applebloom slammed her left hoof on Scootaloo's mouth hard enough to shatter her teeth.